Guys, I literally just walked out of the very first show of the Odyssey, and I am still trying to process what I just witnessed on that massive IMAX screen. Let me tell you right out of the gate, this film is absolutely flawless. It is fantastic. And yes, you heard me right. The Odyssey will definitively beat all the past masterpieces of Christopher Nolan. Move over Inception, move over Oppenheimer. Nolan has just redefined modern cinema all over again. The theater doors just opened worldwide, the global embargo is officially lifted, and I wanted to get this completely spoiler-free review out to you immediately, before you go spend your hard-earned cash on those premium tickets this weekend. Because let me tell you right now, this is not the polished, clean sci-fi Nolan you are used to. This is something far more visceral, unexpectedly dark, and narratively complex. In this review, we're evaluating the groundbreaking IMAX camera work, the massive ensemble cast, the jaw-dropping audio design by Ludwig Göransson, and most importantly, why one specific actor completely steals the entire show. If you want to support an independent channel pushing out the sharpest, fastest cinematic breakdowns, hit that subscribe button right now. Let's dive straight into the masterclass. Let's start with the visual craftsmanship, because this is where Nolan immediately stamps his authority. Shot entirely on custom large format 65mm and IMAX film cameras, the Odyssey looks absolutely gargantuan. Working alongside his visionary cinematographer, Hoyte van Hoytema, Nolan has completely thrown out the classic Hollywood rulebook for historical epics. There are no glossy CGI backdrops or clean, stylized mythological aesthetics here. Instead, Nolan introduces what I can only describe as grounded fantasy. The world of ancient Greece and the Bronze Age feels heavy, grimy, muddy, and intensely real. When you look at the ocean vistas, Van Hoytema avoids the traditional postcard blue tropical water. The sea feels like an active, menacing antagonist, a vast gray and green void of psychological isolation.
And for the mythological elements, the things every Homer purist has been anxious about, Nolan approaches them with an incredible sense of restraint. The monsters, the sirens, and the threats aren't shiny digital creatures. They are integrated seamlessly into the harsh, rocky environments, leaning heavily into a grotesque, surreal, and genuinely unsettling horror aesthetic. It is a massive departure for Nolan, showing a willingness to get weird and visceral in a way we've never seen from him before. Now, let's talk about narrative structure. We all know Christopher Nolan loves playing with time, whether it's the ticking clock of Dunkirk, the dreams within dreams of Inception, or the dual timelines of Oppenheimer. So how does he handle a 3,000-year-old text? Fascinatingly enough, Nolan didn't have to invent a non-linear gimmick this time, because Homer did it first. The Odyssey inherently relies on multiple narrators and fractured memories. Nolan masterfully capitalizes on this, weaving together two primary timelines: Odysseus's grueling, traumatic journey across the sea, and the degrading, high-stakes political vacuum back home in Ithaca. But here is the crucial element that separates this film from his past work: the emotional core. Historically, critics have sometimes called Nolan's films cold or overly intellectual, but the Odyssey is deeply, profoundly human. Instead of lionizing Odysseus as a flawless, legendary warrior, the script, influenced heavily by modern, nuanced translations like Emily Wilson's, deconstructs him. This is a film about the devastating cost of war, the crushing weight of survivors' guilt, and the toxic echo chamber of pride. It asks a haunting question: even if a man manages to physically survive a 10-year war and a 10-year journey home, is there actually anything left of his soul when he arrives? An epic scale requires an epic ensemble, and this cast delivers what might be career-defining work across the board. Matt Damon as Odysseus is a revelation. He plays the legendary commander not with hyper-masculine bravado, but with a careworn, tragic exhaustion. You can see the decades of trauma carved into his face. It's a grounded, unflashy performance that anchors the entire 3-hour runtime, and he is undeniably going to be in the center of the Best Actor conversation come Oscar season. Anne Hathaway brings a fierce, razor-sharp intelligence to Penelope. Nolan ensures the women in this myth aren't just passive figures waiting on the sidelines. Hathaway's Penelope is calculating, angry, and fiercely protective under unimaginable psychological siege. Meanwhile, Tom Holland provides a fantastic, vulnerable counterweight as the young Telemachus, perfectly capturing a prince caught on the precipice of forced manhood. But we have to talk about the absolute scene stealer of this movie: Robert Pattinson. Playing the primary predatory suitor Antinous back in Ithaca, Pattinson is utterly magnetic, deeply conniving, and dangerously charismatic. Every single time he steps onto the screen, he commands the room with a scummy, menacing energy that acts as the perfect foil to the tragic nobility of Odysseus' family. If you thought his past collaborations with Nolan were great, his work here elevates the movie's tension to an entirely new level. However, no movie is entirely flawless, not even a Christopher Nolan epic. And to give you the most honest assessment possible, we have to look at the pacing. The Odyssey clocks in at just under 3 hours, and it is incredibly dense. Because Homer's original epic covers an immense amount of ground, dozens of encounters, internal subplots, and years of wandering, the film occasionally feels slightly rushed in its middle act. Nolan tries to pack so many iconic mythological events and thematic layers into the runtime that a few secondary characters and encounters don't get quite as much room to breathe as they deserve. Additionally, the sheer complexity of the non-linear editing in the first half might feel a bit dizzying for casual viewers who aren't familiar with the basic outline of the myth. But honestly, these are minor gripes when contrasted against the sheer structural audacity of what Nolan has achieved here. So, what is the final verdict? Is the Odyssey Christopher Nolan's greatest film? While Oppenheimer might remain his most historically significant work and Inception his most structurally perfect popcorn thriller, the Odyssey is undeniably his most ambitious, visually arresting, and emotionally mature cinematic event to date. It is a massive triumph that proves Nolan is operating at the absolute peak of his filmmaking powers. Do not wait for streaming on this one. Find the largest, loudest IMAX 70mm screen near you, book your tickets, and experience pure cinema the way it was meant to be seen. I'm giving Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey a spectacular 9.5 out of 10. But now, I want to hear from you. Are you watching it this weekend? What are your expectations for Matt Damon and Robert Pattinson's performances? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to drop a like if this spoiler-free breakdown helped you out. Subscribe for our upcoming full ending explained video.